Day of Dominion 2018 is going to take place on Wednesday, September 26th. It's going to start at 12 noon Arizona time, which is going to be 9 p.m. in Germany, and 4 a.m. Japan time on September 27th. That's the most important stuff. You can find a link to the image that is being shown on the screen down below the video if you want to click on that for the text version of it. Otherwise, please feel free to continue listening as I ramble on a little bit about the event. Hello, I'm Gandair. I've been dead quiet for a while on this channel. That's a way of putting it lightly. I've had a lot of other things going on, not having Dominion anymore, not being involved in competitive gaming as much anymore. Done a few things here and there. I got the world record in Age in Chronicles, the first mage, any percent speedrun, which is pretty cool. I got a job. I got fired from a job. I'm trying to start playing 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons on the internet. There's a couple other projects I have floating around that I'm doing. But let's talk about Dominion. The annual rewatch of the old competitive Dominion games that I've been doing once a year. This is going to be my 3rd year doing it. If anyone out there has competed in or maybe isn't familiar with League of Legends Dominion, it was a game mode that was capture and control style, and it was by Riot Games. It was an alternate game mode. It ran from September 26th, 2000, I believe it was 2010 when it came out. Yes. And then it ran to February 22nd of 2016, and I was there for the entire thing. Played it from the day it came out to the day that it ended, literally within hours of it coming out to being in the confirmed last game that was ever played on the NA server, which was an interesting experience. And we're going to go back in time. We're going to watch a whole bunch of video games from League of Legends Dominion's competitive history. There's a general outline for it that I'm going to tell you about because the games list has not been determined yet. I've been a little bit bogged down trying to get this Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition thing together that I'll talk more about in a moment. For Day of Dominion 2018, I'm going to put some Europe West server games near the beginning of it because that's the best time for our Europe West buddies to be able to watch. I'm going to maybe pick out 2-3 games of that server, probably from different 4-players Liga tournaments that were cast back in 2012. I'm looking for a really good Jace game to get mixed in with all the rest of it. I think some of the best Jace games were in the 2013 era, the Dominate Dominion something in the 70s, 80s era. Had some really good Jace games, particularly DD73, which unfortunately we do not have the VOD for, which is tragic because watching him blat that Caitlyn into another dimension was a thing of beauty. That 13-20-something critical hit on the 3rd shot was just absolutely nasty. I'm looking for something Cheese Enema. I was fortunate enough to be able to meet Cheese Enema player Chavez Obama when I was up in Washington recently. Nice fellow. We had a couple beers, talked a little bit about the state of player behavior back at the time, comparing the way that the different teams interacted with each other and how their different Discord channels, Ventrilo channels, or whatever, how their team chats were compared to each other, and sort of the different personality archetypes that there were across our buddies that all played Dominion, and had a little banter about, what we knew about where people were and what they were up to now, kind of catching up on things, and that was fun. So I want to get a Cheese on the game in there because that was one of my favorite teams to watch play, because Cheese on the games were always chaotic and crazy, and they'd do some non-standard stuff, and they would win games that way, and they were a very skilled group of performers, and they always put up some exciting stuff on camera. So I want to get something by them in. I feel like I've done the good Beware Tall Grass Amputees games, but if I can find one I haven't aired before in the rebroadcast, maybe I'll get one of those mixed in as well. This particular event in the Day of Dominion 2018, I'm going to put a lot of focus on the non-Dominate Dominion games now. We all remember Dominate Dominion being the main tournament for League of Legends Dominion back when it was running actively, but there were several other tournaments that happened during that same time. The other major one was NESL Conflict on the Crystal Scar, which we watched the NESL 29, the final broadcast of NESL's Dominion tournament last year. And this year we're going to be watching some Paradox Esports, Dominion Televised, EVG, Azubu stuff in there, because everyone remembers NESL, everyone remembers Curse, everyone remembers Dominate Dominion. You know, they remember the LOL Pro tournaments, the Curse LOL Pro ones. But DT, Paradox, EVG, some of those, Azubu, some of those maybe we don't want to remember. You know, and maybe I'll touch a little bit on the reasons why for that during the broadcast. But I definitely want to get a nice thick helping of non-Dominate Dominion stuff in there. As for Dominate Dominion games that are going to be included, I want to include some of the ones that happened when I was working at the Arizona Renaissance Festival, the games that I personally was not there for. I have not watched every VOD that there is. I'd say I've watched probably 85% of the VODs, either because I cast them or because I did watch them on my own time. But the parts that I missed the most were some of the Rhinegold River era games when I was at the Renaissance Festival, or a lot of those games that I missed. So I'm going to try to find some of the games from that time, just because I hadn't seen them, and I mean, I missed out for those 8 weeks in there. That was pretty... Where was that at in Dominion timeline-wise? That was Dominate Dominion's, like, the late 90s. Like, 90s to the end were around that time period. I remember DD100, I actually took a day off work from the Renaissance Festival, which is something that I never do, because you don't really get to take days off from that job. They only work 17 days there. So to say, hey, I'm going to miss a day was kind of a big thing, and I'm very thankful still that my managers of both of my respective jobs that I had at the time were able to give me the day off to be able to come out and do that show. An extra thank you to Gung Ho Gunline for filling in before I got there, as kind of not to give away the joke, you know, beforehand. And then I hooked up with Rhinegold there on the cast, on the commentary, on the mic, and we put down the show. It was a lot of fun. And I was pretty sure it was Rhinegold that we had on. Yeah, I think it was Rhinegold we had for 100. Man, it's been a few years. It's starting to get a little fuzzy. We're reaching back in time. But yeah, some of that Rhinegold River era stuff, like DD 96... or 92 to 102, or 94 to 102, something in that range. And then the year before that, which was Dominate Dominion, like 40, like late 40s and 50s. I think it was mostly the Dominate Dominion 50s that I missed there. That was when Pays Evo and Child Support was really strong. And I want to get some of those in, but most of the Rhinegold ones. I had a lot of fun casting with her. She had a lot of energy. People were really opinionated about her when she first started. I mean, even I was. And then she turned out to be really fun to work with. So I want to revisit some of that excitement, that energy that she had. And I think we put on some pretty good shows. And I think games were at their best really in that era in 2013. In the January, February, March 2013 era, things were really rocking. And then the DD 70s back in like October, September, things were real. October, September. I think it was like August, September. Actually, things were real great back then too. So that's the DD periods that I want to get in. Dominate Dominion 50s and Dominate Dominion late 90s to the 100s are the sections I'm looking for. And if there's any particular games that jump out to anyone that they think would be really cool, let me know, because I haven't made the schedule yet. So get at me on Twitter, post a comment here on YouTube. If you've got me on Discord somewhere, link it to me there. Come by my live stream, link it to me there. Just find a way to get in touch with me, and don't be shy about, I haven't talked to Gandair in a while. Ask people that might know me how to get in touch with me if you need to. Like, we're all buddies and we're all out of touch with each other these days. Don't be afraid to reconnect, man, because League of Legends Dominion was our house on the internet. And that house got foreclosed on, we got kicked out, and then they bulldozed the house and they paved a parking lot over it, and now it's like, well, what's even here anymore? So we don't have our hangout spot, and feel free to get in touch. I think that about the final thing on the show, we're going to rewatch the final League of Legends Dominion tournament that was ever cast, which was not DD the Final Battle. No, I believe it was called Final Dominion. It was done by Reverie Esports, which was Will IF, the person who did Paradox's the Paradox Dominion Championship Series, or the Paradox Esports Dominion Championship Series, which was Will IF, and I never know how to pronounce his name, but the other Will not the one that we all know. Yeah, he put on Paradox, and he also put on Reverie, which was that last one, and it was a different commentator, a very different style, and I've never actually watched it myself because it was like too sad to watch it, so I've never done that, and that's how I want to close out this year with. And we always try to end on something big. We did Final Battle Finals Game 1 in 2016 when we did this. In 2017, we did the final ever broadcast game, which was Final Battle Finals Game 3. Now we're going to do the... what is it called? We're going to do the, Final Dominion, I believe was the name of the tournament or something like that, by Reverie. Will IF and Abassinate did that one. And we're going to watch that one, which I've never seen because I was too damn sad, and I'm still a little iffy on watching it, but we're going to look back on it because that really was the closure to the whole thing. Maybe, no, I'm not really ready for it. But there's a couple other personal games that I'll have in there also mixed in with my thoughts on some things as well. So let's, by the way, new thing, if anyone has like clips or highlights of other people's Dominion games, we're talking like Fancy Wolf, Wolferer, Corval, who else streamed a lot? Practice Yellow, Dusakar streamed a little bit, I think. There were some other people out there that did it. And if you know any of them that have like highlights or videos on their Twitch, YouTube, anything like Necrogen, let me know. I will gladly throw some of those into the mix. I mean, competitive Dominion players' own live streams is still a part of that history, that area in time. And I'm looking to expand out to include some of that as well. That concludes all of my thoughts on the Day of Dominion, excuse me. Wow, old habits, right? That concludes my thoughts on the Day of Dominion 2018 thing. To recap, it is going to be on Wednesday, September 26th. It's going to start at 12 p.m. noon, Arizona time, which is USA Mountain Time, which, according to, if my math is right, that means it's 9 p.m. in Germany, and it's 4 a.m. in Japan on September 27th for those time zones. And if you have any, if you have any want for updates at all, follow at VatoClan on Twitter. That's where I'm going to be posting the updates for these things. I don't believe I will do another video before it goes live, but I might do one once I have the schedule locked down. No promises. I will definitely have it on Twitter, though. And you can watch it at twitch.tv/Vato_Gandair is where that's going to be broadcast at. Now, for anyone curious about where the hell I've been, I'm going to talk about myself for a couple of moments here. So if you're here for the Dominion thing, that's done. That's good. You've got the link down below. Keep in touch about that in the places I've mentioned. For me personally, I had a job. I lost a job. Some things going on. I'm maybe moving back into downtown or maybe staying out here. I don't know. Someone hit my car. It's been a mess. I talked about it a little bit last year. My situation here has not improved too much. The big thing I'm working on right now is there's two things that are new with me that if you are interested in supporting them, I would be very, very grateful for it if you just wanted to hang out on any of these type of streams. I've started doing a live stream called Beer and Banter. I don't know how we ended up naming it that. It just happened. I don't know. But that's the name of the show. And it's literally me and a couple of my real-life buddies. They're also my gaming buddies. We live in the same area, my real life gaming buddies, my local gaming buddies, however you want to phrase that. We have 2 beers on a live stream. We do a review of the beers, and it's a long form sit down thing. It usually takes about an hour and a half to sometimes 3 hours. We aim for 2, and then we just see what happens. So it's planned for an hour per beer, and sometimes we go long, sometimes we go short. And they're craft beers or macro beers. We don't have any discrimination or favoritism. We'll try whatever. And however many people I can get show up, we just sit down on webcam, open a beer, pour it on camera, drink it, give our first thoughts, and just talk, just banter. There's no script at all. Maybe someday we'll have an outline of like conversation topics, but really we just make the entire thing up right now as we go. Absolutely unscripted. just stream of consciousness, whatever, to try to kind of emulate that setting of when you're hanging out with your buddies at a pub or something like that, or just hanging out lounging in general, even if you're not drinking. And if you want to come by and have some banter with us and hang out, that happens on Wednesdays, with the exception of September 26th, which I'm going to do oh wow, I'm still doing it. That's embarrassing. The Day of Dominion stream is on a Wednesday, which directly conflicts with the Beer and Banter schedule. So I'm going to do Beer and Banter Tuesday that week. But normally, Beer and Banter is on Wednesdays. It starts at 6 p.m. Arizona time. It's on twitch.tv/Vato_Gandair. And we drink 2 beers, we review them, and, start to finish. We finish the whole beer, and we talk about it all the way through. We do our first impressions right after we open it. We get about halfway through it, comment a little bit more on it, and then when we finish it, we give our final thoughts on the beer. And the reason that we do that format is because I feel like if you just judge it by the first sips or by the little tasters that you get, sometimes a beer's flavor changes as you get down into it. Odell makes a beer called Mercenary. It's a double IPA, which I really enjoy, but it gets really, really bitter down at the bottom of the pour. And you wouldn't be aware of that if you just tasted the top of a pour, because some of them have that sediment to them a little bit, or they're a little cloudy. They have some solids in them that sink down, and you don't want to get caught off guard by that. So we drink the entire beer all the way through, and then we also comment on, how it tastes when it's freshly poured, when it's cold, versus how it tastes when it's warmed. And I feel like that adds a little bit more to it that you don't get when you see other people do reviews. And plus, we rant and talk about video games, sometimes stray into politics. It's not something that we plan on. It's not supposed to be politically themed, but, that's just a fact of life. Sometimes people talk about it. And we'll touch on current events every now and again. We'll talk about video games, other things like that. Tell stories about trips we went on, all sorts of things. So if you're looking for something to hang out to, and, we're pretty active about reading the live chat when we do it. And we're getting those videos put on YouTube as well, so you will be able to watch them on this platform here that you're watching the thing. So, if you don't care for the live stuff, or, you can't make the schedule, you're not being left out, because we want you to be able to enjoy it on this platform as well when you want to watch it, not having to worry about our schedule. You'll just be able to see it on YouTube. And, hit me up on Twitter @VatoClan, and you'll see those posts when the videos get posted. And I think I'm gonna post them. I might just post them here. I don't know that I've been toying with the idea of where do I publish these Beer and Banter videos to, whether it's gonna be my personal YouTube channel or whether it's gonna be the business channel, and I think I'm gonna drop them here on the Vato Clan channel. So you are going to maybe see those start popping up. I'll do an announcement video for it separately from this one, so that way it doesn't come as a shock to anybody. But yeah, there you go. And let's hang out. Let's be friends on the internet. The other thing that I'm doing, which is a big project for me, is for a long time I've played Dungeons and Dragons with my local real life gaming buddies, and our schedules and living situations have made it difficult for us to necessarily get together at the times that are normal. Like it's usually on Tuesdays. I'm too far away from it, and some people work. So we can't get together as often as we used to, and I still want to play, and I'm really far away. So I say, hey, let's figure out how to do this over the internet, because originally I planned on, hey, we'll all sit down at the table in person at someone's house, we'll record the Dungeons & Dragons game there, and I'll put that on YouTube, which my buddy Zephin did for a while, and then he stopped doing it. And I want to get back in doing it because, my friends are it's a variety of personalities, some more or less tolerable than others, and everyone's bad and good in their own ways. And I think when you combine those crazy differences together, you get some really good stuff. Like we've got, I could tell stories about the dumb stuff that's happened at our game tables. Regardless of who's DM. Usually it's me, because I was the one that just DM for the longest, and I made some mistakes as DM. They made some mistakes as some players. A lot of dumb things happened along the way. We all had a laugh, and it was a good time. And we want to kind of take that environment and put it somewhere on the internet for other people to see. And I'm going to be trying to do that here. I want to get those videos. I want to record them. I want to get them published to YouTube. Maybe do a live stream thing also. And It's going to be Dungeons and Dragons, to be 5th edition to start out with, because I want to learn that edition. I don't have any experience with it. And when I was at a speedrunner video game event, I bought 2 of the rulebooks while I was there. And I liked the way they looked, so I went and bought the rest when I got home. That was my tax return gift to myself, was to have those. I am actively looking for players for this game. I have 1 adventure outline that's pretty solid, and I have 3 other ones that are mostly done. I'm ready to actually start playing. If you want more information on that, follow me on Twitter so I can tweet the paste bin out to you. Maybe I'll make a separate video for that as well, because maybe it merits its own thing. I want to get back into video production, something that I really love, and having no longer been able to commentate, competitive stuff, haven't really had a game that I can go in on and get into the competitive for and do the commentary and do the live streaming. I just need something else to do with my video experience and skills. So if you want to play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, no prior experience required. You don't even need to make a character, you can just show up. It starts at 1st level. I have pre-made characters. I can hand you one, and then we can personalize it after you get it in your hands and get a chance to read it. If you do want to make your own character, player's handbook only. We're not using feats at all. And that's and there's no Dragonborn. I'm not doing Dragonborn either as a playable race, just because I've had nothing but bad experience with Dragonborn players, playing dragons or half dragons or anything dragon-like. It's never gone well for me. It's always been like a weird in-game power balance thing with breath weapons, or it's been some kind of almost like fetishistic acting out of a scaly fantasy, which is a little creepy to me. So I know there's good people out there that can play a dragon character and play it well, but I have issues writing them into my story. I don't quite know where they fit in my campaign setting. So since they're not in the game world anywhere, they're not a playable race for player characters either. That may change one day, but that's the big restriction that I can think of off the top of my head. No feats, no Dragonborn, no half-dragon characters. Other than that, the other PHB races are fine as far as I'm aware. Oh, there's no gnomes. There's no gnomes. I got rid of gnomes also, because I could never form a distinct enough personality in my head for them. I couldn't really find a place to fit them and their culture in. They didn't seem to... Like, I could never really be like gnome culture versus halfling culture and really split the two. They just seem like the same race. So I just decided there's only going to be one short race, it's halflings. And we're not going to have short elves, which are what gnomes are as far as I'm concerned. So there's no gnomes either. Sorry about that. I've seen lots of good RP with gnomes. I've played gnome characters. I don't have anything wrong with, I don't find anything wrong with it personally. It's just, I can never get it in my headspace to fit it into my campaign world. So it's just not there. That may change one day when I maybe do some more reading about them, or someone comes along with a really good gnome character, but as for right now, no Dragonborn, no gnomes, PHB only. 5th edition, Dungeons & Dragons, no feats, no prior experience required. You can show up, I'll give you a character, and we can play some games. Big thing is, if you're interested in that, I am going to require webcam microphone, because I do want to make like a show out of it. I'm not intending to be like one of those shows, but I just feel like I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't acknowledge that was a possibility of a thing that could happen. So that's why I'm not doing it over purely text or just vocal only, because if for some reason it got popular, I do want to have that infrastructure in place already to be a cool production type thing. That's not the goal of it by any means. I really just want to record D&D so I can go back and listen to the stories later, because it's all word of mouth. So little of the stuff is recorded. I used to record summaries for the Warhammer 40k. We were playing Deathwatch RPG, and I had a lot of fun doing the session recaps for that. It was really cool. And we always tell stories about it, and I want to be able to go back and revisit the jokes and, hear it in the proper context that it was in. Because when you retell it, it's just not quite as funny as actually being able to be there when it happened, and when you can actually show the video of no, this is what happened, and you can see that dice roll land, and everyone just starts laughing at the table. Just being able to capture those organic moments is really important to me. So that's why webcam and mic, not just over text. And then it it sort of feeds my craving for, like, I want to do video production, because then I can make cool assets and overlays and fun things, and that's a lot of entertainment for me to do. So yeah, Beer and Banter, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition are my two projects that I'm kind of working on now that I don't have Dominion anymore. It's taken me a long time to get to the point with either of those that I've actually felt like talking about them or trying to do anything with them, because, you know, it was well, how do I do this? What kind of format do I want to do? You know, how do I do overlays? What do I do with XYZ things? And there was some learning, and it was a lot of fun, and now I'm in a position where I want to actually start doing things, and you are all invited to be along for the ride for that. Yeah, and I speedrun Aiden Chronicles: The First Mage. I got the world record in it. A new route is out by a person named Ridley Killer 93. Contacted me on YouTube and was like, hey, here's some updates to the route. So maybe I'll stream some of that and improve the world record if no one else gets to it before me, because that record is seriously up for grabs right now. And I think that's about it for me for now. So there you go. That's what's new with me. That's what's coming up with Day of Dominion 2018, and possibly, you know, Beer and Banter and Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game. And hopefully I will see you folks on the internet. Don't be strangers. I'm still here, you know. I haven't really gone anywhere. I'm still on the internet. Let's be friends again. Be nice to each other on the internet. I'll talk to you soon.